Okay, welcome folks. We are back after a long time. New YouTube, really an old YouTube, but it's a project that was abandoned. So filler episode, that's filler episode. You should be able to find that just through YouTube, but it's technically at filler episode 8502. And Twitter got me over there at Raisin B Man, and we have a nice royalty-free track, which may or may not have been inspired by the main character of Attack on Titan, Eren. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Attack on Titan has been a staple of many people's lives for at least the past decade. It hasn't all been stellar, however, with a problematic production schedule, multiple animation studios being ran through, and actual controversies around the property. The series also propelled the then relatively unknown Hajime Isayama into blinding fame and fortune, as even today, Attack on Titan is the 11th most popular manga of all time. And when I say Isayama was blinded by his staggering success, I'm not kidding. The manga was successful, sure, but the anime was when it really popped off. So Isayama, in his particular worldview, didn't really think much of it for years, and suddenly one day he's the GOAT. Something like that can be hard to process, as evidenced by his interviews. As we came to find out, Isayama was telling a very personal story, and one day the entire world put their hopes and dreams on his shoulders. Being generous, you could say Isayama was careless, not realizing his fame and reach, fascists being given ground to stand on, and sensitive depictions of characters that allude to real-life groups. Being critical, you could say he failed his readers. He set the anime world on fire, had a great setup with the basement reveal, and was not afraid to kill or change characters, yet kept an ending that ultimately wouldn't be what the world wanted. Either way, it is no surprise nearly everyone had a hard time swallowing the medicinal grade pill that was the ending, but I get ahead of myself. Let's think back to the 10 years of enjoyment this series has given us. It was a good time, no doubt. It animated well, had hype music and moments, and nothing, and no one, was sacred. There was some strange humor, which I didn't really understand. Also, some of the faces in general were kind of hard to read in terms of the expressions they were making, everything like that. My spider sense was still on a low hum as I saw the heel turn of Eren, and I mentally questioned if it would be worth it. Still, I enjoyed most of it. Much like another series, The Promised Neverland, I knew from the moment I heard about the reveal. The basement reveal would be the linchpin for the series to tell us if it was all worth it. Nothing would be the same after, and the mangaka knew it. The ultimate problem is, we get to the ending. Eren made a turn into many things, but for brevity's sake, he became a fascist. There are a lot of ridiculous half explanations for why this happened, and the fact that it went there was only through author intent. You may have been expecting a moral or a last-minute change of heart by Eren, or the dreaded, it was all a dream, or even for it to suck because there's no way anyone could land the plane that Isayama had built. But the truth that I believe is Isayama wanted this to be the ending because it was always the ending. Why would Isayama want to ruin the ending of his best-selling deified manga? Because he's Eren. Even visually, I'm sure you may have seen the resemblance, even if you didn't realize Eren was a self-insert. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but this has always been the path the story was going to take, and the ending Isayama wanted. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was okay. Okay, alright. Why would Isayama want to ruin the ending of his best-selling deified manga? Because he's Eren. We already went over that. Sorry. I know sounds a little weird, but this was always the path the story was going to take, and the ending Isayama wanted. Before the anime, before it even sold a copy, this was Isayama's vision. You may be skeptical, and honestly we may never know, but Tomino Ryu, of Gundam fame may have figured this out before the majority of us, stating that Isayama is a stubborn, bullied child who relieves his anger through drawing manga, while also lamenting the era we're in if this is what we have to show for it. Anime was a mistake rings out in the distance. Isayama has also said that this was in fact the ending he wanted in his interviews. However reviled, however unwise it was Isayama's planned end. So this was not a publisher-afflicted wound, which you would normally assume to be the case. You might say, I'd never throw this cash cow away, but that's the thing, you're not Isayama. I was watching a Polish horror movie with my girlfriend and saw that there was a sequel. The sequel was trash in that for some reason they decided to make it a sexual comedy. I don't really know how else to phrase that, but it went from horror to something completely not horror. Not everyone has their eyes set on being in manga forever, and as the saying goes, change is the only constant. But wanting it to end like that isn't an excuse enough when there are media within the realm of dark fantasy that do the same thing without the, I'll phrase it as betraying the reader. In particular, it's been pointed out that if you really do like an Eren-like character, you could just go read the much better Berserk. Vinland Saga is another where I don't love the ending, but the main character does what Eren does. He just doesn't get to be some sort of Alpha Chad who solves all the world's problems while also causing a lot of pain and bloodshed. Even outside of anime and manga, there are plenty of modern pieces of media that explore extremely pertinent political themes and the darkness of humanity. I didn't give Zack Snyder a pass for his complete misunderstanding of superheroes, and I won't give Isayama a pass for his responsibility as someone putting media out into the world. On one hand, we yearn for art to be unique. Okay. On one hand, we yearn for art to be unique and to truly captivate and surprise us. On another, there's a very base human trait to enjoy the familiar, which is why every McDonald's you see is nearly the same. Isayama wrote a very personal story that millions of people happen to see. If the hands of time were reversed, should this have even happened? Would it have been better if Isayama didn't find a publisher and his vision remained in his head or on shelves unsold? I personally think it is part of how Japan has swept under the rug various skeletons while keeping up a facade of anime being one of their main exports. Isayama, speaking through Eren, told us he's an idiot and basically genocided most of the world because he wanted to. So does admitting his faults absolve him? I enjoyed most of Attack on Titan, but the end made me hate Eren and dislike Isayama. And for all of this musing, who even knows if Isayama will ever speak on it again beyond the minor changes we got in the anime ending? I imagine his royalties could carry him to the grave, so he may never engage in manga again, and considering how much he seems to dislike people, the world, and well, most everything, we may never know. So grade for Attack on Titan, it's at the B tier before the basement reveal, D tier as a whole including the ending. And for those of you who are really OGs, you may remember this. But yeah, Attack on Titan is in the D tier here. Give it a couple moments for people to check it out. Hopefully we'll get back to this on a regular basis. I know there's shows that I have not put on here, and there's a couple that I remembered to put on here that weren't on here the last time we went through this. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. Again, YouTube filler episode. There is the @ if you cannot find it just through a Google or YouTube search. My Twitter, and again, music by Loser, which possibly inspired by Eren, probably not, by Tubacker and Tatuano. Thanks for tuning in, guys and girls and non-gendered peoples of the world. Who knows if we'll be back? We'll probably be back.